Hi, I'm Rebecca. Welcome to my sewing room. This is Sew Be It. I realized while I was editing this video that I previously deleted the introduction for this video. So this is the introduction in editing, so sorry that the beginning of this does not look so hot. I will be making the pattern in the picture at the beginning of the video using the same fabrics that are in there. It is a very thin fabric. Both of the fabrics are sheer. The solid green one is permanently pleated. This will also have a white lining. I will actually kind of be flat lining most of the dress with the white knit lining fabric. I'm not exactly sure what that fabric is made out of. I don't actually know what any of these fabrics are made out of for this dress, but here we go. So I knew I'd need to make a mock-up for this dress, and I am quite glad I did, because clearly this thing does not fit right. So it does need to be shortened a little bit. You can barely see it, but this is the lengthen and shorten line. The waistline though is like an inch probably down on the skirt, and my waistline is way up here, actually at the lengthen and shorten line. So I will be able to measure the distance from this line to the bottom and then take it up. And I'll do that from the side seams, because the front of the bodice is actually like a little dip in the center front. So I'll just do it from the side seams and raise that up. And that should be where it needs to be once I do that. But I need to do a full bust adjustment, and I need to actually look up specifically how to do that on a bodice like this. I do know that I need to do a full bust adjustment because of this, and it needs to go back further, but it doesn't lay right. So I need to figure out what I need to do. So once I make some adjustments, figure that out, or once I read up and kind of figure that out, I'll let you know and make the adjustments. Okay, so I've gotten into 2 of my fitting books. I have the Complete Photo Guide to Perfect Fitting. There are full bust adjustments in this book, but it's all for bodices with darts. And I don't want any darts in this, because this dress is not supposed to have darts. So I need to do a different full bust adjustment without darts. Well, this book right here, the fitting book, does have multiple full bust adjustment options, and one of them is without darts. By the way, if my shoulder straps if my sleeves or whatever you want to call these fall down, it's because I need to either make or buy those little loopy things that go around your bra straps, because every single time I make something like this, they fall down. I have it hooked, like just tucked underneath my bra right now, so if it falls down today, sorry. So before the full bust adjustment, the bodice already needs to be shortened. And so, as I said, I'm going to use the side seams to shorten it. I have to raise the whole thing up 2 inches. So I am actually going to cut along my lengthened shorten line and move that up 2 inches, and then sew it together so that I actually have one piece. I did measure at the line and 2 inches above, and my bodice is actually the exact same size all the way across, so it will work out to do it this way. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to come back for the full bust adjustment so that I've got the actual full bodice. So I actually lied. Cutting it and then moving it up is not going to work. It looked according to my measurements, it looked like it was the same, but there might have been wrinkles or something in it. It's not the same, so it's not going to fit right. So I'm going to go ahead and shorten that on my pattern piece, and then recut a new mock-up bodice, and then once that's done, I will be back to show you how to do the full bust adjustment. Okay, so I have the new mock-up ready. I did, for the full bust adjustment, I already put it on, and the first thing you need to do is mark your apex. So that's what those bigger spots are. And then when I took them off, I drew straight vertical lines down to the waistline, and then slanted lines up to the armholes. And now I have to cut along those lines, leave a 1/16 of an inch at the bottom and a 1/16 of an inch at the armholes. I do end up leaving a little bit more than a 1/16 of an inch because I just don't want it to rip open. Okay, I have it all cut, opened up, ready to go. It looks really goofy, but off camera, I'll go ahead and put it on, and then when it spreads like it's going to fit correctly, I have to figure out how to tape it open and hold that in place so that I have the correct sizes. So I'll figure out how to do that, and then I'll let you know how I do it. Editing Rebecca here, because it's late and I'm tired. Don't mind how I look. So I did realize that I did not explain to you how I got my full bust adjustment. I needed to open the bust about 1.25 inches, and so you measure that out, and then you do the pivot method, which is seen in the next clip. Okay, now we're at the point of retracing the bodice front. So the first thing that we need to do is obviously lay our pattern piece on a new pattern paper, and using the same amount that the apex spread on the bodice, for me it was 1 3/8 inches. I have to mark that distance from the underarm hole. And then I need to trace all of the other sides. Now we use the pivot method at what they call the shoulder, but I have to use the neck because that's the shoulder here, and then pivot out to the 1 3/8 inch mark. I'm just going to go ahead and use scissors here to hold it in place and pivot to that mark, and then trace the rest of the pattern. Okay, and then once I have this one done, now I need to use this spot here and pivot that way to the side seam lines with the waist. Now, right here is the length of my actual side seam, and I've already shortened my bodice, so I don't want to actually add this like you would normally have to do. So I actually think I actually now need to do this. Okay, we'll see how this works. Boy, oh boy, am I glad I am making mock-ups. So the bust adjustment fits on this one. However, now because of that, I have to take the side seams in. So I'll go ahead and show you what I gotta do. Okay, so it is way too big here and here. So actually, right about here at this seam is my two measurements. So I need to take it in at the underarm, 1 7/8 inches. And then I need to take it in down here, 1 1/8 inches, which actually it might end up being basically like a straight line. And it pretty much is. Okay, and then this does change the length of my sleeve, so I'm gonna have to figure out what to do with that depending on what the whole thing looks like. So I'll be back. Okay, so I measured the length of where the sleeve attaches here, and I measured the length of the actual sleeve where it attaches to the bodice front. And originally they were the exact same size, so that means I needed to cut down the sleeve. So that's exactly what I did. I just went ahead and the new front of the sleeve is 9 3/4 inches. So I cut, or front of the bodice sleeve is 9 3/4 inches. So I cut that sleeve down to 9 3/4 inches. I just made a mark where the sleeve part is, and then drew a line straight down. I made a mark on this line here, and then drew a line straight down to where the original bottom of that sleeve was, so I don't have to change the sleeve anymore. And hopefully that is correct, because I'm not the best at this and I'm just learning. So I'm really tired of doing all of this fitting, and I think I've pretty much gone as far as I can with making this fit me correctly, or somewhat correctly. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my fabrics cut out and make this dress. I'm pretty sure there are a couple things on this dress. Actually, I know for a fact there are a couple things on this dress that I'm not going to do as the directions say. My skirt won't be gathered because I do have that pleated skirt fabric, and I'm probably going to do a casing at the waistline and put some of that thin elastic in there to cinch it, but still have it easy to pull over my head. That might be the only thing. Obviously it's not going to be a tiered skirt, but I will make sure my skirt is long enough, or longer than the actual first tier. I have to do the same thing with the lining of the dress, and so I'll be back if there's any new tips. If not, I will see you at the final reveal. One thing I want to say about this pattern, if you decide that you want to do this pattern, you like it, make sure you make a fitting toile first, or else you could be in deep trouble, because even with my measurements, the bodice did not fit at all. We do need to remember that the majority of the sewing patterns are made with a bust cup size of a letter B, and many of us are not that bust size. So we may have to do a small or a large bust adjustment, which obviously I had to do. I had to adjust things multiple times. So just make sure that you get this thing fitted before you decide to make it. Another thing, I hate working with this fabric. I'm going to say that I'm not going to work with it again, but that's a lie, because I do have that blue and white fabric still that you guys saw a few weeks ago. But it's going to be a while actually before I make that skirt that I was planning to make, because I absolutely hate this fabric for something like this. And I think the skirt that I'm planning to make with that is going to be just as hard. My machine really did not like this fabric at all this time. I don't know what the difference was with the green fabric versus the pink fabric that I used previously, but it didn't like it anywhere near as close. So I had a lot of problems with this dress. However, I have worn this dress out now, and the amount of compliments that I have got from it really do make me like this dress more, because of all the trouble that I had with this dress. I was not enjoying it at all. I didn't like it as much, but turns out a lot of people do like this dress, and they do like it on me. So that was quite nice to hear and lifted my spirits. Also, if you like dresses that are a bit more fitted to your waist, once I finished this dress, it was really, really boxy. So I did do that waistline casing, and I added the 1/4 inch elastic into the waistline like I did for one of my previous dresses, a couple weeks ago. So that way it cinches in my waist and actually gives me shape. Otherwise, this dress was really, really boxy. I think the sleeves made it look more boxy, but with the waist cinched or pulled in by the elastic, then it's not as bad. So other than that, I think that's all I have for you this week. I hope you enjoyed my video. Maybe you learned something from fitting, because I've never done a full bust adjustment before. It was kind of fun. My next project, I'll have to do a full bust adjustment as well, but I already kind of have the idea for that and how to do that, because I'll be doing it the exact same way that I did this last one. Right. So thank you for watching this week. If you liked my video, hit that like button for me. If you want to make sure you see all my videos, hit that subscribe button for me, and I'll be in your subscribers list. And finally, if you want to be notified every single time I post, go ahead and hit that notification bell, and YouTube will notify you every single time. Thank you for watching Rebecca's Sewing Room. This was So Be It.